Well, good morning. It's Baby Friday. Not Friday, Baby Friday, Friday Eve. Who did I miss in the pre-party? Poppy Red Mustang, good morning. V Oakley, what's up, girlfriend? True Crime Beat, we had our own pre-party. We were talking on the phone. Hey, Wiz, what's up, girl? Hey, Michelle. Pat K. Pat K's talking about typewriters. She says, I love the typewriter. She does amazing genealogy work. And my great grandmother, Helene, in order for her to fight arthritis, she would type or play the piano all the time. Fun fact. I'm named after her, not the hurricane, but her maiden name. Hey, Teresa, Mimi. Woo! Pile in, my friends. Now, I had every intention of doing this show last week. But as you know, I had to go to the hospital. That was not a fun time. But we are on it today because I can tell you something right now. No time soon, my friends, am I going to not be PO'd as to what happened to Maddie. And it sounds like I'm downplaying it, but you know how YouTube is, because what happened sounds like you stubbed your toe, okay? She was violently assaulted for years. Her mother ignored all the signs. She didn't want to see it. She didn't care. She looked at her daughter, in my opinion, as the other woman, competition. She served her up. Snow has another word for it. She said tortured. Tortured. Teresa, I commented on the last live on this. We're going to get to that, girlfriend. We're going to get to that. First, let's tell everyone hello. So nice to be amongst friends. Starting to feel like fall out there. It's only going to be 93 here today. Woo, but it's so cool in the mornings, you don't even mind the 90s in the afternoons. Take a second. Welcome your neighbor. So glad you guys are here. I know what the buzz is on the YouTube streets. I'm not that ignorant. I'm pretty ignorant when it comes to YouTube, but not that ignorant. So I know when I see you guys here for Madeline Soto or yesterday for Morgan Nick, that case is forever and a day old. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about Quentin Simon, and we're going to be talking about a new case. 2. Britt will like that. Britt loves when we have 2 shows in a day. Just for you, Britt. Well, let's get to your comments from the last show. Actually, first, let's have a little recap of what we're dealing with here.
Have you talked to Chris about Stephanie being a lawyer?
Yeah.
When?
I think when you guys showed me the photos.
So we showed you photos of Stephen raping. And
No.
the first thought you had was to ask his father if he should get a lawyer?
No. I saw a picture. I didn't see the rape. I didn't know she was getting raped until yesterday. I saw the picture of the oral sex happening. And I knew that was true, right? That's evidence. That's for real. That's fucking happening. But I kept thinking, they're going... I don't know why I can't tell you why my brain kept thinking, no, he didn't kill her. Not that he didn't kill her, but she's still missing. She's still out there. She was taken. Yes, he's done this to her. And that's not okay. But I swore she was still... I felt in my body she was still alive. She was still out there. I told Chris to get a lawyer because I felt like you guys were chasing the wrong person. But you weren't. You're not.
We showed you a picture. The picture you saw, she was giving a blowjob to a grown-ass man. And you told his dad to get him a lawyer. Missing, right? Now then you just thought she was missing. And we were showing you our investigative lead being raped. A blowjob is rape. Not consensual. Whether she wants to do it or not, that is not consensual. And you prioritized him again. You prioritized him by offering him or telling his dad to get him a lawyer. Not what the fuck did he do? Not, hey, we need to figure out what happened. No, let's protect Stefan.
I was in shock.
No, it's not shock. That is your natural instinct to protect Stefan.
Yes, tell her.
Okay? And if that's naturally how you react, that's fine. But that goes into what I've been telling you this whole conversation is I don't believe a lot of the things you're saying, and I don't believe a lot of the things you say you weren't aware of. And that is because you've now shown me twice that your first reaction, no matter what you were told or shown, missing or seizing a cell phone, or showing you pictures of her giving him a blowjob, your first reaction is to protect Stefan. So now, ordered by Stefan, you're aware of this, you were shown pictures of this, you were shown pictures of her body in his car with a seatbelt on, right? We have played it out for you. Now you're in a stage where he's in jail, you know she's passed away, and now you can feel emotion, right? Until that point, when you were shown that she was deceased, your continued first reaction is to protect this guy. You just said, I only saw a picture of him, whatever your verbiage was, I say blowjob, of his penis in her mouth, and your first reaction was, fuck. Oh my, victimized? No. She's being abused? No. It's Stefan needs a lawyer.
And she starts scratching her ear, getting all uncomfortable on the couch. Is it just me? Or does her voice rub you like nails on a chalkboard? Something about her voice just goes all over me like a wetsuit. I can't stand it. Britt had a question. Have we heard the roommates yet? That's for another show because it's a lot to take in. Let's get to your comments from the last show because you all had a lot to say. And I'm a little jaded on covering Maddie Soto, but I'm going to keep doing it because the last show I did about Maddie Soto, as you know, I got really sick during the show and I was in the hospital for a few days. But I have a feeling today, what do? Knock on wood, throw some salt over my shoulder. I think we're safe today. Delia's child said, my son is bipolar. He doesn't get Social Security. I didn't know there's so many people with bipolars that don't get Social Security. That is a shock. Doesn't make excuses for not recognizing. What was Stefan doing? A lot of people had questions about how you get disability when there's so many people out there that have bipolar disorder. Don't beat me up for saying disorder. That's just what it's called. Maria O'Sullivan said if they shared an Amazon app, they would have also shared payment method. This is so true. We discussed on the last show how Jen Soto was talking about how he ordered all this crap all the time. He was getting real itchy. He needed his phone back to check on his packages with Maddie murdered and missing. Okay? Everybody knows how to use an app. Okay? This is 2024. I can go to my Amazon app and it'll show what was last delivered, what's in my cart, payment methods. But Jen Soto is like really scratching her head. We don't know where he got the money. Let me tell you, there was a lot of money coming in, considering his hobbies. A lot of money. Vinny Politan did a show about it. The money, the money, the money. Now, all we can do, since I'm not an accountant, is speculate. Where do you all, my good friends, where do you think that money was coming from? It seemed to be recent money. I think the police do know where it came from, and there's going to be more charges. I truly believe that. Bama Squirrel said, I tried to give Jen Soto the benefit of the doubt. She just doesn't allow me by how she gives herself away. She might not think Stefan is guilty of murder due to the fact she knows he's guilty of that, in quotes. You know, I think we all at some point tried to give her the benefit of the doubt, but it's just not going to work. It's just not going to work. All right, without further ado, we are going to discuss the jaw-dropping interview done by Hidden True Crime, Dr. John and Lauren, with Stefan's parents. Now, I put in our group, our Facebook group, about Jen Soto. It's TikTok Jen Soto. You're going to get it someday. You're going to get it. I had his commissary report. Let me tell you, he's big pimping in that jail. There's women's names on there, which is why I'm not putting it out here. It's in the group. But his mom, I'm assuming, is sending lots of money to keep him comfortable. And then there's these random women. Now, some people say, oh, that's Jen Soto using different names. I don't think it works that way when you're sending stuff to the pokey, but I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. Lil Red, how much Botox you think Stefan the pig spent on Jen's face? Well, we know she missed that last $350 treatment. She acted like that really got on her nerves that she had to skip that appointment. God forbid a mother have to put off her own wants because her daughter's missing. All right, I got to take a deep breath because these parents really frustrate the hell out of me. As you know, I have to put my own commentary in here. Fair use, you know. Anything that sticks out to you, I am definitely watching the comments. And I want to hear what you think. Truth is, a lot of people were fooled by Stefan. Mr. Disney. Here's one. This was the lady that used to cut his hair. I cut this guy's hair for the past 2 years, and he truly had me fooled. I'm in shock over this. Who wouldn't be in shock? Seriously, who wouldn't be? He spoke so highly of her, meaning Maddie. He bragged about how he raised her as his own since she was little. He worked for Disney and had such an upbeat and friendly demeanor. Almost childlike, ? I'm furious. I'm sick to my stomach over this. I'm heartbroken for this little girl. You know, just imagine being this woman, knowing that you were cutting that demon's hair, and he's sitting there in your chair, holding the phone, full of CSAM, bragging about what a wonderful father he is to Maddie. I do think ads like this are going to come back on Jen Soto at some time, okay? She advertised herself as a dog walker, okay? She's going to walk your dog for you, all right? She said, I'm home 24/7. This is my only income. Okay, the link on rover.com, Stefan Stearns leaves a fake review as if he's one of her customers. The dogs she owns are listed as Sailor and Coda. Now, when she had her Facebook up, it was Jennifer Soto, and then she changed the name to Coda Sailor, but it's totally gone now. So she's trying to convince everyone that she had no idea what was going on, but on rover.com and other sites, she says, I'm home 24/7. Make it make sense, my friends. Make it make sense.
This is a horrible loss in the world. She, that child, she should still be here. She should still be here.
Yeah. Did you? So you just described kind of the bright side of Madeline, that she was happy and giggled a lot. Did you ever, she was next to you in bed. Did you ever notice any distress
No.
from her? Did you ever feel like
She doesn't even let him finish his question. She slept next to you in bed, Debbie. Did you notice any distress? He's not done yet. And she just goes, no. 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 Well, think about it. Help law enforcement. Quit helping your dirtbag son. Please help law enforcement.
maybe she wanted to talk to you about something she couldn't, or did you get any of that?
There was none of that. In fact, just the opposite. Stefan would be sitting on the sofa, and she would go and sit on the arm of the sofa and break her arm around him and give him a kiss and tell him she loved him. And Madeline is the one that told me about the co-sleeping, not Stefan and not Jim. Madeline did. When she related, she said it was a funny story. She says, oh, I was in bed with Mom and Stefan, and when I woke up in the morning, my leg was draped over him, and she went, isn't that funny? I said, no.
Okay, so I'm getting a hint of victim blaming, okay? Madeline said, I've slept in the bed with Mom and Stefan, and I woke up and my leg was draped over him. She mimics her laugh and says, isn't that funny? And Debbie says, no. Okay, well, if you said no, then that means you did realize something was going on. But before Dr. John could even get his question out, you instantly cut him off and said no.
I don't find that funny.
Yeah.
That's when I would have to talk with them. Because to me, I'm sorry, that sent up a big red flag.
Yeah.
Okay, the question is, did she have a talk with him? Did she? Because she said that's a huge red flag. But she already said, no distress, nothing like that. But then she remembers this. I'm going to say right now that Maddie telling this story, in my humble, uneducated opinion, was a cry for help. Okay? I do not believe that Chris or Debbie have anything to do with the essay, the murder, the moving of her body, or anything. But I guarantee they are processing a lot now of what they ignored, what they missed, what they didn't care about, what they turned the other cheek to, because that was a cry for help.
She said that in a playful manner,
Yes.
but not in a, you wouldn't see that as kind of a cry for help.
I did not see it as a cry for help. I found it to be disturbing to me on levels. So other than that, we had no recollection, we had no indication that anyway that something illicit was going on. Nothing.
Yeah. And when you told Stefan you shouldn't be co-sleeping with Madeline, he, as far as you could tell, he heard you. He said, okay.
He heard me.
All right, and poor Lauren, she calls it co-sleeping. I understand she's trying to be as gentle as possible. I don't blame her. I would too. However, Stefan calls it snuggle time. Snuggle time. Snuggle cuddle time.
He and Jen both says, well, but she wants to be with us. And
Yeah.
I knew no matter what I said to him, they're going to do what they're going to do anyway.
Right.
It was very obvious to me that they were not listening. They heard, but they're not comprehending, and they're not going to change.
You've
like-
mentioned, yeah, you've mentioned that Stefan would often say one thing but do another, right? That you didn't know.
Oh, yeah. Modus operandi.
You didn't know what was true and what wasn't sometimes.
I mean, you never,
He made it. He was a gaslighter.
Hmm.
You know, he could make you think things were one way when they were a total other way, and do it with such sincerity that you questioned yourself.
Interesting.
And when we got to figure that out, things changed for him, and they didn't change for the good. And he was no longer a happy camper because we challenged him on everything. We came up missing money. We came up missing jewelry. Came up missing my deceased father's Rolex. And I know he took it, but he won't admit to it even now.
When did that start? Could you tell us?
Okay, so instead of the fast no, when Dr. John asks her, now we're talking about Maddie giving the story about how she woke up with her leg draped over Mr. Disney. At this point, when they're talking to Lauren and Dr. John, they already know about the images. They are not prepared, in my opinion, to accept that he could have been selling those on the Telegram app, weirdos on Craigslist, or who, deep web, the Linux system, who knows? They're not prepared. So they're saying, sold my dad's Rolex. We know he took it. That. They're not prepared to accept that he was in a CP scam.
Tell us a little bit about the line, when it started, and like when did you take the Rolex?
Last year.
it started when he was a teenager.
Okay, started when he's a teenager. He took the Rolex last year. But remember, both Chris and Jen Soto were confused about where the recent money came from. Again, no one's willing to accept he could be selling the images. Now, I don't want to get into anyone's health problems or anything like that, but do you or anyone you know ever had a head injury? Bonk on the head. Baseball hits you at the game. Didn't catch that fly ball. Car wreck. Whatever. I don't believe for a minute that any head injury turned him into this deviant. Stillwater says, yes, me. Britt, yes. Pat K, yes, my brother. Baby kisses, yes. Teresa, yes. Series TBI, he didn't turn into any kind of monster.
Okay.
And little stuff, and then they got bigger and bigger as he got older. I mean, you never got the truth about anything. I mean, he wrecked his car and never got the true story in that. Some very similar to the incident of Maddie's disappearance.
Who does Stefan look like to you guys? Swade Smith, I'm glad you're here. She says, King Baby Syndrome. Who does he look like to you? Because I'm not seeing any lookalikes with his parents. Okay, some of you see it. I don't see it.
Coming up with something like that, when he called me that afternoon, second call that day, flat tire, and listened to that BS. And boy, when you look at the images of that tire, I mean, there wasn't hardly any rubber left on that wheel whatsoever. And then they show pictures of these chunks of rubber laying in the ground. And Stefan trying to explain to me that he had a flat tire and he was in the inside lane of a highway in a high density commercial district and he couldn't pull off the road. Again, you know, it was a story that I didn't believe, and then getting a call 90 minutes later, less than 90 minutes later, about Maddie's disappearance, and I go, that's too coincidental. 2 events like that in a single afternoon. I don't believe in coincidences. You know, didn't believe that, but wanted to. You know, I was there to support the story until it was different, and unfortunately, I found out a couple days later, if I had seen that TV interview that they held the next day, my attitude and demeanor with him would have been considerably different than me making the trip to Orlando.
Okay, but you paid for the tire. You gave him a phone, Chris. I understand you're not taking up for him now. I understand that. I got it. But your wife is funneling a lot of money to the pokey for him to have his root beer barrels, his special coffee, his beefaroni, and all that stuff. He paid for the tire. He knew things weren't adding up that day. After they took Stefan's phone, he made sure he had a phone. I'd let him sit there and friggin' sweat.
And helping he and Maddie out, or Jennifer out, for sure.
The police kicked everybody out of the townhouse and quarantined it, roped it off. They had no money. They had no place to go. He didn't want to go to the in-laws' house, of course, or to her mother's house. They got along like brother and water. But it was, Chris went there to get them into a hotel and to be there as emotional support for them, for a missing child, not for anything else.
Not for an escape route or to hide them.
Nope.
You knew that Madeline was missing. You didn't know why. And you thought, I can give them a place to stay.
Yeah, and then I wanted some quality time with them, again, I just kicked myself for not seeing that TV interview, because my conversation would have been.
It was after, you couldn't have seen it.
I know that, but the interview took place before I got up there. That's the thing, but I didn't find.
Woo, she's getting shitty with him. What do you mean? Like, she's really giving him the book of goods, is she not? He might talk good for the camera, but behind closed doors, he is Team Stefan, in my opinion. Because there's a lot of money getting funneled into that jail. Listen to her. Reading him the right act. And I can tell you something right now. Had the dad, hindsight's a bitch, okay? It's not 2020. Hindsight's a bitch. You know, the woulda, coulda, shoulda, donna. Had he not paid for that tire and let broke ass sit there on the side of the road, I don't believe there would have been a hunt for Maddie up until March 1st.
Find out about it till Friday, and it happened on Tuesday. But my conversation with him would have been very confrontational. And I wouldn't have been satisfied until I got the truth from him. When I questioned him as best as I could, now that he was in incarceration, obviously he couldn't give me the answers. The best he could come up with is that I wasn't able to think. Well, he was thinking a lot of other things and taking a lot of actions and doing a lot of things that obviously he was thinking. But again, that would be an appropriate response from Stefan, because again, keep telling the lie. But the amount of time that I had from 2:15 Wednesday morning until 4 p.m., I spent a total of 35 minutes with him, and it was over 3 different occasions. First of all, find that he wasn't at the hotel that morning. And then to learn later that he had left that hotel, went to St. Cloud, went to Northport, and came back. And then obviously so exhausted, he passed out in bed, didn't see him again until 3 o'clock. And
all right, Columbo. Columbo, have you not figured out what all that running around was about? Madeline's missing. And he basically makes a 300-mile trip. St. Cloud, Northport. We know he checked out his dad's storage unit. Madeline is missing. Yes, of course they can't be in the house. Everybody had to leave because they had to investigate forensics. No big ding dong there. But how come Matlock here didn't scratch his head wondering, Maddie's missing, so what are you doing running around Hell's Half Acre? But then Jen tries to lie and said he never left the hotel. Okay.
And again, no time for conversation because now we're down in the lobby of the hotel and he's now being escorted to supposedly a press conference, which there was a press conference, but he was immediately taken to the rear of the sheriff's department and put in the detention room, and later that evening arrested. Never had a chance to have a conversation with him.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lil Red said, did you guys understand that actually the pig went to the place he left Maddie twice before they found her? Why? I'm going to answer this just with my opinion. I hope everybody chimes in because this is a great comment. Paranoia. See how close the police are getting. And to check, and I'm going to use Jen's words, his handiwork.
And there was some issue about one YouTuber who called out Chris as a liar because he said he saw a picture on the phone.
Yeah, much later, I mean, I'm having a conversation again, thinking I'm having a private conversation with the deputies back in July. And, you know, Jen that evening had provided some very graphic detail of the image. She told me in her story was that there was a group of photos that they had downloaded off of Stefan's phone. They wanted to show these images, this package of images to Jennifer. She said that she couldn't see them, but agreed to look at one. Then she shared with me in graphic detail what that image was. 5 months later, I'm thinking throughout that time that she had the opportunity to maybe grab a photo of that, and because once you describe that to me, I can't get it out of my mind. It becomes ingrained and printed, and I'm thinking that there's an image in my mind that I must have seen a photo, and instead of asking a question, I made a comment to the police, and then one of these YouTubers accused me of lying and making this stuff up, and it was really my bad. I apologize. I thought it was an image I saw when in fact it was a graphical image in my mind, but I thought I'd seen a photo. So I apologize for that. But again, you're dealing with this stuff. 7-8 months ago, there was a lot of stuff going on that evening, especially, trying to gauge Jennifer's demeanor after learning that her daughter had been SA'd. If it was me, I'd be beating the crap out of somebody. Okay,
I have a question about this. Teresa put in quotes to make sure he did the job right. Look at that. It's meow or never. Just got a Crime Lines and Laws membership. The way Jen said that, he kept going back to check to make sure he did the job right. Now, if you remember, her tone was extremely flat. It has made me wonder, not accuse, but wonder if this wasn't somehow a command from her. Because remember what her biggest fear was.
I've always told him that my biggest fear is that this would turn into a Woody Allen situation where the stepdaughter or the dad grooms the child and the child then turns 18 and ends up running away with him. I told him like that was my biggest fear and I don't ever want that happening. Like, you can't do that to me. Like,
why would you say that to him?
because I never trusted. I grew up being told never trust a man. My mom put that in my body. Never trust a man.
To me. To me. You can't do that to me. My mom put that in my body. When they said this is a homicide investigation, she said, oh, you're looking for a body? We're looking for Madeline. We're looking for Madeline. We're looking for your daughter.
Physically could or could not. And she was totally composed and
Unemotional.
quite calm about the whole thing. It was just very strange.
What? Now that we're on this topic, there's a rumor out there about there being SA in Stefan's background. I think some of the rumors involve you guys. Even there's rumors about
Just me.
giving him explicit material. Again, I can't use terms because of YouTube, but what could you guys set the record straight on that?
You bet. Number one, it was, from what we heard, it's Hustler magazine, the nastiest magazine that was ever printed. Never
Right.
came home. I would never buy it, and I would certainly never give it to my child. I mean,
None of that material existed in her house. But I'm sure back then, that day and age, magazines tossed to the street in trash cans. Somebody has it. Other kids bring it to school. Maybe they even try to sell it, but certainly that type of stuff circulated and what have you. Have no idea where he came in possession of this, but it was not.
Easy. You can buy them at any gas station. The question is, at a young age, were you buying that material for him? GB, my girl, you all are really coming out of the barn today with great comments. GB says, I want to know why Jen's father lived in the condo for 2 years with the three of them. So he didn't see or hear Maddie being abused. I've actually left Jen's dad alone. I have a lot I want to say about him. You set up this Disney Airbnb, which actually turned out to be a damn flop house. Renting out rooms to strangers. At one time, he was living there too. You're telling me no one noticed this little girl's demeanor change? Nobody noticed Madeline ever in pain? Okay? You have a lot to say about old Papa Soto. Because he damn sure is another one that failed Maddie.
Not provided by us, and there was never any physical abuse or sexual SA abuse at home. None of that. He was always provided a warm, loving, caring environment. So none of that's true.
Okay, Hustler magazine. Stefan gets to see some boobies and some buns. Stefan had a head injury. None of this equates to what happened to Maddie. Keep throwing that shit at the wall to see what's going to stick. Keep doing it. Because all you all are doing is blaming Madeline. And it's pissing me off.
Do you think there were any any red flags in that area in terms of, I don't know, maybe some of the girls he was dating in high school, or did you see any red flags about any unusual sexual interest or problems?
His first girlfriend he had in California, he was really had a big crush on her.
Okay.
You know, we met her, sweet girl. We left California when the state went batshit crazy. Excuse my French, but hey, it's California.
So now it's California's fault? The girlfriend went batshit crazy, but hey, it's California. Again, Stefan is never to blame. Have you noticed that? Oh, well, I mean, he did steal my dad's Rolex. Guarantee it went to a pawn shop. But now it's California's fault. Okay, super. I mean, you know, it's California. She went batshit crazy. Okay. I don't know how Dr. John is sitting there. Good thing he's got his mouth covered. I'd have my fingers down my throat going.
You know, we left there and came to Florida. You know, at that age, your kids circulate through kids like people go through revolving doors. You know, one kid comes in, hey, this is so and so, okay, and then you never see him again. There's a parade of those instances or what have you. One of the dogs, a friend of his came in, an acquaintance of his came in, and she didn't appreciate him. She let it be known too. Kind of nipped him in the backside. You want to say?
Great point, Sal 80. I think I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. Look, Dad, you're renting out the rooms. You would adjust the rate so that your daughter wouldn't have to pay rent. But instead, as Christopher Stern said, he didn't realize when he was paying rent for Mr. Disney, he was actually supporting the whole family. That is a huge red flag. We haven't even gotten to the sex doll that was only a torso yet. It is red flag after red flag after red flag after red flag. Trigger, 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 trigger. And all they can do is say, oh, we had a loving environment. He had a girlfriend. She went batshit crazy. But hey, that's California for you. No. No, your son is a deviant.
She wouldn't let him in the door.
Yeah.
She backed him up against the wall
Not coming in.
and nipped him on the butt until he went out the door again. And we later found out this was the same friend of his that overdosed on heroin and died.
Oh.
There is another incident, and I don't think we've ever brought this up before, and that is in California. He was walking down the street with a couple of friends and his girlfriend, and this man was very inappropriate with them, and I'll let Chris tell you the rest of it, but
Well, yeah, cat call or something, and there's
lewd cat call.
There was a shout out to him, and the truck spun around and came back. This guy unfolded himself out of the truck. He was that big, and physically started assaulting Stefan to the point that he was choking him to death. Coincidental to that, we had just come back from Sequoia National Forest where we went camping with the church group, and Stefan had a pocket knife in his pocket and stabbed the guy in the chest to defend himself. The guy was later arrested for physical assault, and Stefan defended himself, but didn't realize that he suffered PTSD from that. I didn't realize that until several years later that he was experiencing that.
He was hot.
Okay. So he was with a church group. A man tried to assault him. Surprised I didn't say it's a California problem. He stabbed him. The guy got arrested for physically assaulting Stefan. I'd love to know the dude's name. Would love to find out what really is going on with this. So now we're back to PTSD, which, by the way, I do think is very serious. A lot of people suffer from it. All right, so we have Hustler Magazine, State of California, Batshit Crazy Girlfriend, Church Group, PTSD. Then on the other hand, with Jen Soto, we have bipolar, PTSD, for getting drunk with the guy from the car lot. What's next? What's next? How does any of this equate to what was done to Madeline?
Haunted by it.
Yeah.
He was haunted
What
by
was
it.
the just to clarify? What was the trigger? What was the cause of that?
There was a very lewd remark made and a shout back to the guys. And it turns out the guy was a meth, but a shout out to the guys that went driving by in the truck, maybe an FU or what have you. And they
Okay.
spun around and
They
came
flipped
back.
the bird. They flipped
Okay.
the bird. Now he spun the truck around and came after him.
And Stefan was the only one that was physically attacked. Karate or no karate, he couldn't get the guy off of him.
And how old was Stefan?
16, 17?
Maybe 16.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was a
Karate. Hold on, Sensei. Stefan could not beat himself out of a wet paper bag. He couldn't get the guy off of him, karate or no karate.
really thin guy back then. You know.
Was
First I
there
see him.
when you talk about the line that was starting during his early adolescent years, it sounds like did any of that become criminal behavior at all, or did he ever get disciplined for any antisocial or unusual problematic behavior at that age?
No, that's the thing. There was never any issues with him. I guess a parent's greatest fear is that the kid becomes an alcoholic or a drug addict. I mean, I have conversations with other friends or what have you who tell me stories about not their kids per se, but other kids, and it's tragic what happens with these kids. They get started in this stuff at such a young age. There was an incident one time where we were gone for the afternoon and came home and I went up the stairs and Stefan was coming down the stairs and I had to stop midway and I go, whoa, time out. Oh my gosh. I said, come here. And I said, have you been drinking? And he just reeked of alcohol. Well, apparently he spent the afternoon sampling every alcohol that we had. And we soon got rid of all the alcohol in the house. And believe it or not, he was heading out the door to take his friend home.
What was his age? What was the age at that time?
17. It was just before California. So I don't know, 17. And sent him to his room and didn't see him for 2 days. He passed out, and I took the friend home who told me what had been going on that afternoon. But that's the worst thing that we had experienced at that time.
So when you have these incidents, did you guys sit down and kind of have a heart to heart with him at all? I mean, what was communication like between you guys?
Okay, I'm gonna pause it right there. Paper Slut said, I heard the bypass is actually how Jen and Mr. Disney got connected. Now, I need more dates on this. She had the gastric sleeve done after she met Stefan. I can't get an actual date when he had it done. Was it before he met Jen or after? Because hers was after. And I'm really surprised they're not trying to find a way to equate that surgery to what he did to Madeline.
We had open communication and dialogue with him all the time. What we didn't have from him was truth, or that if he was having a problem, he would come share it with us. He was very close and close-knit to himself. I mean, never came to us, very rarely, unless he needed money, that he came to us with a problem. Hey, I got a problem. I mean, I felt and told Stefan that, why didn't you come to me with this problem that you experienced on Sunday evening or Monday morning, whenever this took place? Hey, I screwed up. Oh, okay. Because the first thing I would have suggested is I'm coming there and then I'm going to take you to the police. You got to turn yourself in. Let's be out in front of this. And I always told him to be out in front of this. The minute you've done something wrong, own it, fess up to it, and get out in front of it. And I guess he thought he was smarter than the average bear, what have you. Because obviously, if you look at the timelines and the sequence of the chronological narrative summary, what have you, is like, how could he not realize that his trail was being followed? They know everything he did. How can you, in today's technological environment that we live in, do you think you can get away with anything? You can't sneeze and not know that you've sneezed. I don't know how he thought he could get away with any of this. So our deepest desire is to discover more about Stefan, learn from him. And we're going to kind of lean on you, John, to help us provide some clarity to Stefan. It's a son that we didn't know versus what we did know about our son, and the complete opposite of one another.
As much as I really, really want to sympathize with Chris and Debbie, it still is pissing me off to no end that they're giving such plain talk. We just want to clarify some things for you about Stefan. Dr. John doesn't seem too impressed at all. We just want to clarify some things for you. Between when he was a teenager to when Maddie disappeared, they, in their own words, noticed a lot of things. A lot of things. Now, I understand when our children are adults, we can't exactly put them in timeout. We can't put them in the corner. We can't take their car keys. But in this situation, they had cards to hold because Mr. Disney was still on Mama's tit.
We feel blessed that we found you guys. You reached out to us and it gave us the opportunity to do a deep dive into your channel, and it was a welcome relief to see the professionalism of what you guys put out there, and the fact that John's got a medical background brings a lot of legitimacy to your channel. You guys truly represent what we believe should be represented in these crime channels that exist out there.
Okay. Keep kissing their ass. Keep kissing their ass. What about this?
Have you talked to Chris about Stefan being a lawyer?
Yeah.
When?
I think when you guys showed me the photos.
So we showed you photos of Stefan raping.
No.
First thought you had was to ask his father if he should get a lawyer.
No. I saw a picture. I didn't see the rape. I didn't know she was getting raped until yesterday. I saw the picture of the oral sex happening. And I knew that was true, right? That's evidence. That's for real. That's fucking happening. But I kept thinking, they're going... I don't know why I can't tell you why my brain kept thinking, no, he didn't kill her. Not that he didn't kill her, but she's still missing. She's still out there. She was taken. yes, he's done this to her, and that's not okay. But I swore she was still, I felt in my body she was still alive, she was still out there. I told Chris to get a lawyer because I felt like you guys were chasing the wrong person, but you weren't. You're
I
not.
showed you a picture. The picture you saw, she was giving a blowjob to a grown-ass man, and you told his dad to get him a lawyer. Missing, right? Now then you just thought she was missing. And we were showing you our investigative lead being raped. A blowjob is rape. Not consensual. Whether she wants to do it or not, that is not consensual. And you prioritized him again. You prioritized him by offering him or telling his dad to get him a lawyer. Not what the fuck did he do? Not, hey, we need to figure out what happened. No, let's protect Stefan.
I was in shock.
No, it's not shock. That is your natural instinct to protect Stefan.
Yes, tell her.
Okay? And if that's naturally how you react, that's fine. But that goes into what I've been telling you this whole conversation is I don't believe a lot of the things you're saying, and I don't believe a lot of the things you say you weren't aware of. And that is because you've now shown me twice that your first reaction, no matter what you were told or shown, missing or seizing a cell phone, or we're showing you pictures of her giving him a blowjob, your first reaction is to protect Stefan. So now, ordered by Stefan, you're aware of this, you were shown pictures of this, you were shown pictures of her body in his car with a seatbelt on, right? We have played it out for you. Now you're in a stage where he's in jail, you know she's passed away, and now you can feel emotion, right? Until that point, when you were shown that she was deceased, your continued first reaction is to protect this guy. You just said, I only saw a picture of him, whatever your verbiage was, I say blowjob, of his penis in her mouth, and your first reaction was, fuck. Oh my, victimized? No. She's being abused? No. It's Stefan needs a lawyer.
Stefan needs a lawyer. Jen got a lawyer because she knows. Tick tock, tick tock. Let me tell you what, every time that damn phone rings and it says restricted, or somebody knocks at her sissy's door, she's shitting bricks, my friends. She is shitting her britches.
But what?
You didn't smother him.
Well, smother them with love, whatever. But you know, we there was never any denial of any outward affection from him and us, and even to this day, still a lot of outward display of love and affection. Nothing, as I said, ever gave us any clue or warning to his recently discovered behavior. I mean, this, like I said, this is the son that we don't know. It's not the son that we do know. So,
Debbie, you even homeschooled Stefan for a time, and that's actually been brought up in numerous conversations on YouTube as well. Do you want to share a little bit about why you chose to do that and what that was like?
Because it was a daily fight to get him out of bed, dressed, and out the door to go to school. It was a daily fight to get him to do his homework. We had several conferences with teachers, and even on the IEP, he was not progressing. So I talked to the principal of the school, and I said, what can I do? And she said, have you ever tried homeschooling? And I said, well, no. Don't you have to have, a full college degree for that? Because I'm short a few credits.
STFU. I can't get him out of bed to go to school. Can't get his ass in the shower. Can't get him to brush his teeth. Can't get him to pee with the toilet seat up. Can't get him. Very first question to Debbie and Chris from Dr. John. She answered it before the question was over. Did you notice anything? No. Then this educator is talking to Mommy Dearest, saying, have you ever tried homeschooling? Bullshit, no one asked her that. They would already know. They have his school record sitting right there. You have to have a full college degree. Tell it to the Amish. You kidding me? Excuse.
I don't have my degree yet. And she says, no, you don't have to, because you are going to be supporting him, but he's going to be doing his classes with Florida Virtual School. So that's what happened. And we were able to get him up at 10 in the morning. It was easier. So maybe that's coddling him, but it was easier on me too, because I usually don't go to sleep until 2 or 3 in the morning. So, hey, I didn't have to be up at 6:30 in the morning to get him up. He was able to eat food, and we were able to take short breaks and progress at a rate that would interest him, because some stuff he could just speed through. English language, sentences, reading, history, science. He loved all of that, and he devoured it. Math, no.
Hates math.
Math for me, no. So I called it a tutor. You're usually good at one thing. If you're good on the historical and the English side, you're usually not good on math. I don't have a linear brain. So I had to bring in a tutor. But he had to take his tests orally with a proctor over the phone, and I could not be in the room. And did I help him with his homework? Yep, I did. Don't most people help the kids with their homework? I didn't do it for him, but I helped him.
I wish you were my parent, because I never got help with homework.
Of course, people help their kids with their homework. That's the least of your concerns right now. Hell, I have full on done projects for my kids by my damn self and argued with the teacher over my grade. Of course, people help their kids with their homework. It might seem like coddling. Okay, so you let him sleep till 10 o'clock in the morning. You get a math tutor. V. Oakley's laughing. Yeah. You know, one of my sons came home with his grade on my diorama I did about Egypt. Got an A-. I called the school and I was like, hold on. Without even thinking, I said, I worked my damn ass off on that. She's like, what? I was like, eek. Never mind. We'll take the A-. Goodness, these people.
Anyway, I also gave him courses that they weren't offering in school. We did marine biology. We did oceanography. We did stuff that he liked. He loved dinosaurs. We looked into that. So I feel like he got a better education at home than he got in school. He didn't have the distractions. He could concentrate on his work. He wasn't distracting the kids around him, and he wasn't frustrating the teachers. But when he described his algebra teacher to me as a woman who stood at the blackboard with her back to the class, talked to the backboard while doing, combinations up on the board, doing algebraic expressions, and they couldn't understand her, couldn't hear her, and she never helped anybody do anything. And I said, why is he even here? You were still allowed to participate with the school because you were still basically enrolled with the school. So he still got to go to prom. He still got to go to graduation. He walked and got his diploma.
Got the cap and gown and the whole thing.
Yep.
What was he? So was he in the virtual program throughout the entirety of high school, or just a few years? What was the
2.5 years in high school?
Okay. And you mentioned earlier that he tended to be a bit solitary. Was that after high school, or was he a bit of a solitary person in high school as well?
Yes. He had his cadre of close friends. He didn't have a huge group of friends. He had 4 or 5 close friends, and that was all he wanted in his life. Just his little circle of friends. He was not a social butterfly by any means.
And do you think that the accident had something to do with that?
I think so. He was quite gregarious beforehand. He would run. He would go and knock on people's doors and say, "Do you have?" Okay.
Excuses. We hear them every day. He was quite gregarious before he had this head injury. What we're getting into now is what I call the calm before the storm. Because they have more excuses for their son. And hey, some of it could be out of embarrassment, could be out of pure shame for what their son has done, their social standing in their community. It's not like they are living in a rent by the hour hotel. These are upstanding people. He was so gregarious. Listen, they're going to have 3 different psychiatrists look at this freak of nature, and they aren't going to give a rat's ass about his head injury, about his schooling, about his church group, or about seeing boobies in the magazine.
That's somebody my age that I can play with. You know, he would introduce himself to people. He would run around and walk right around on his bicycle looking to see if there were any games he could join in. Now, he did do kickball and stuff like that, and he went fishing, taught him to fish. I was the fisherman, not him. I kind of was more of an outdoorsy person because of the horses, and I also got Stefan a horse. He wanted a horse. He got a horse, but he had to promise to work with me in the barn. And that meant cleaning, shoveling poop,
cleaning. Hey, animals are great for kids. But why would you get a horse for a child that has a head injury that you're concerned about? He had to shovel poop. He had to help me in the barn. If you're concerned about this head injury, why put him on the horse? What's next? Did you get him a motorcycle too? And that's a lot of damn money to board a horse.
bringing shavings in, hauling hay with me, going and picking up more shavings, which all the kids loved that because they got to ride in the pickup truck on top of all the shavings. But, and now people.
Kiss my ass. Annie Oakley didn't do this shit. They paid people to do it. Then they took Mr. Disney out, let him ride around on the pony. I'm not stupid. No. Laura Ingalls Wilder here was not moving hay and all that shit. They paid to have all that done. They just showed up, threw his skinny ass on the horse, and called him a cowboy.
People are saying that sounds like this the worst thing I could ever do is to have him actually work to support his horse and to help me because I was having some physical problems from these surgeries I had on my feet. So there were some things that I just couldn't do. But he loved running out at night. He would just grab a hunk of mane, hop on their bareback, and they just run around the pasture. Every night we went out together and gave the horses peppermint candy before we went to bed. So it was, to me, that was an ideal life. He was able to go into the woods and go fishing, catch frogs, catch lizards, catch snakes.
You guys are helping me kind of develop a picture of your son, and the more you talk about him, obviously, correct me if I'm wrong here, but it feels to some extent like your son was very childlike in a way. Like it's almost like with his interest in games as an adult and the solitary pursuits, it almost sounds like he really struggled to grow up.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Well, and I will also say he's a narcissist.
Okay.
It was all about Stefan. When Stefan wanted something, Stefan wanted it then. He didn't want to wait. He didn't want to wait for Christmas. He didn't want to wait for his birthday. It was now, and he would throw a fit.
Okay, well, let's have a talk about this. Moms, dads, grandparents don't count. I can tell you why, because I didn't realize my parents had any money until my children were born. When I was growing up, I'm like, can we get McDonald's? Can we get pizza? No, we don't have any money. What would you rather have, pizza or the lights on? . Bleeding us dry. Okay. He's a narcissist. He doesn't want to wait for Christmas. Look at Lauren's face. Look at Lauren's face. She's like, huh? Didn't want to wait for Christmas. Didn't want to shovel the poop. Didn't want to go to school. Okay, so now they're putting a diagnosis on him. Oh, he's a narcissist. He didn't want to wait for Christmas. I'm actually going to agree with them on this one.
Drive a narcissistic person in a relationship are power, control, and domination. And the narcissistic person uses the relationship as a source of validation. If those needs are not being met or cannot be achieved, that is a contributor to the volatility of these relationships.
Let's listen to this again, because Horse Whisperer is sitting there saying, and he's a narcissist. He didn't want to wait for Christmas. When he wanted something, he had to have it. He had to have it. He had to have it. Didn't want to school. Didn't want to go to school. Didn't want to brush his teeth. Wanted to play games. Wanted to chase lizards around and shit. Then she goes, oh, he's a narcissist.
Drive a narcissistic person in a relationship are power, control, and domination. And the narcissistic person uses the relationship as a source of validation. If those needs are not being met or cannot be achieved, that is a contributor to the volatility of these relationships.
Then you say no. Then you say no. Sorry you got a boo-boo on your brain. Sorry your karate skills didn't work out at church camp. But the answer is no. No.
The other thing that we were chastised for, apparently, was allowing him to have a firearm. That was brought up. And that was for his, was it 25th birthday?
No, 21st birthday. He was
21 was the tattoo.
No, again, he was robbed at gunpoint at
Yes, he
18.
was. Mm-hmm.
And he swore up and down that when he became legal age, he was going to be able to defend himself. So when that happened, I immediately joined him, and I hired a former Black Ops guy. We spent 40 hours, Stefan and myself, with this instructor for 40 hours doing
Not all at one time.
right one-to-one training with him.
Did competitions.
Yeah, we participated in competition. He was very responsible with that. Taught me a lot because he invested time in educating himself about firearms and what have you. But it was a method for me to bond with him because I wasn't going to hang out in the Star Wars arena. I wasn't going to get caught up in Gamagachis. I wasn't going to be doing that with him.
Or Warhammer.
But we did go and participate and compete in gun competitions, and it was fun. It was a bonding opportunity, and that's why I got involved with it.
Lauren, to answer your question, I did have another question. After the accident, you guys mentioned that you thought there were symptoms of PTSD. It sounds like maybe there could have been some depression too. I'm not quite sure, but
Yes. Completely.
Did you guys ever consider?
Holy hell. There could be some depression too. I feel really bad for Lauren and Dr. John having to talk to this hot mess. I really do. There could be some depression too. Yes. Thank you. Yes. What about the 17,000 images found on his phone? What about the 35,000 total found between all the devices? No more excuses, in my opinion, And I'm not blaming John or Lauren, because you're not going to get them to talk if you're going, look, y'all are fucking losers, man. Horse shit. And I don't mean the stuff that you never scooped up in the barn. So I totally get where Lauren and John are coming from. I would have had a real hard time with this interview. There was absolutely no discipline. It was nothing but poor baby boy. Their relationship with Stefan reminds me so much of the relationship between Ma and Pa Laundrie and their son Brian Laundrie. They have one excuse after another for that piece of shit that killed Gabby Petito.
Or did you get him into counseling, or did you try to get any help for him at any point?
Well, he, as an adult, he was in counseling and
Okay.
Years.
for years. So
Okay.
I don't know. Obviously, we're not privy to what was discussed and what have you, but
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not faulting you. I think I'm just more interested in whether you. I guess part of my question is whether you thought that his problems rose to the level of seeking help, or do you feel like they were kind of under that bar still
I felt
as a
like
child?
I thought they were under the bar. I never thought that, oh my God, he's so bad, we need to go and get him help. Let's go put him in a hospital somewhere.
yeah, no, it was nothing like that. I mean, again, the son we knew versus the son we now know, two different people. Yeah.
Yeah. And when he did get counseling as an adult, do you know anything about that? Like what age and how long, or did he talk about that with you guys at all?
He was still going through it up to 3 months before he was incarcerated. He was with counseling for years.
Yeah.
But it was something he sought out voluntarily, or
Yeah.
I think he did it because he wanted to get a marijuana.
Okay. So in other words, that would imply that the reason he was going was for symptoms of trauma.
We don't know. We don't know.
I think he felt like he needed it to I don't know, for anxiety, depression.
He had anxiety.
To calm him. I don't know.
Okay.
John, he didn't want to attempt to do something unless he thought he could do it well. It was hard to get him to take that first step to try something new.
Okay. So it sounds like he was also a bit of a perfectionist.
Self-perfectionist and a perfectionist with everybody else.
A self-perfectionist and a perfectionist with everybody else. I think we're missing the big picture here, okay? I think we're missing it. I totally get Dr. John's line of questioning. And let me tell you what, they're stepping right in it. They're stepping right in every booby trap, no pun intended, that he's laying out for them. And I'm not saying that he's trying to set them up or anything. Perfectionists are not unemployed. Perfectionists do not rely on their elderly parents to buy their toys. Perfectionists do not live in a pigsty. That's not how they get down.
Around him. I think he was an emotional bully.
Could you say more about that?
Well, because I think he wanted people to rise to his level when they're talking, if they're talking and they're not making sense to him. he would say something about it. If people don't understand, Stefan had an IQ that bordered on genius. Seriously, I'm not saying that because.
Oh, shut the fuck up. I'm not even going to use the acronym, the STFU. He had an IQ that bordered on genius. Okay, so he's a perfectionist. He's a genius. Holy hell. You got Jen Soto telling Maddie's daddy that he's a biomechanical engineer. What can this dude not do except lie? He's obviously not a good liar. And work. Come on. Genius? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
I'm his mother. I'm saying he was tested. He was very high IQ, but the functionality level that he had with that IQ was not there. It didn't match unless he wanted it to.
Unless he wanted it to. Put him in the same cell as Sarah Boone. Because, she's a genius too. She's going on trial for murder next week. Put him in the same cell as Sarah Boone. Let him procreate. I would love to see what genius comes out of these two.
When it matched, it was magical and it clicked. He could become almost expertise in anything once he did a deep dive into something that interested him. Unfortunately, nothing that he went to find a job with interested him. So,
yeah. Was that testing done, by the way, as a consequence of the TBI, or was it? Let me back up a little bit. That after his his accident and the traumatic brain injury, and I guess I should say what a TBI. I guess we haven't defined TBI. Maybe some people at this point don't even know what the TBI stands for, traumatic brain injury. So in other words, it would be, in simplistic terms, it would be potential brain damage.
yes.
So could you talk a little bit more about the aftermath of that? Was he hospitalized for a period of time?
Nope.
No, they treated him, kept him for a couple of hours, did a bunch of x-rays, did an MRI,
Okay.
him home. Because
Okay.
I think they offered to keep him overnight, but I wanted him to come home. I would rather be home than in a hospital exposed to a lot of germs. And I'm kind of weird that way. I don't like hospitals, but I ended up having to take him to a chiropractor to get him to walk straight again. He was walking on a cane for over a month.
Wow.
Okay.
So he walked in there on a cane. He walked out twirling it around like, Groucho Marx. So it worked. But the car had run over his pelvis and his low back when it hit both times. So he got double swatted.
Did you notice any memory loss after the accident?
Yes, I did. He couldn't recall things easily. We would have to sit down and refresh his memory on some things that happened. He would look at pictures and he would say, where was this taken? When was this? So yes, he lost a chunk of memory.
I call bullshit. You guys ever play the card game Bullshit? Where you got to try to figure out who's got what? Somebody's going to sit there and tell you they have a royal flush and you go, bullshit. I'm calling bullshit. He lost a chunk of his memory. Really. Wait till these two bags of bones hear what real professionals are going to tell them about their son. The genius, the horse whisperer, about his brain injury. We used to have a mod around here that always said that she had a closed brain injury. No, she just took too many pills and drank too much. That has nothing to do with your brain. You did that shit to yourself. Do you think these two will show up at the trial where they lay out all his dirty deeds and they sit there and they have to listen to all of it? Last I heard, the SA is being tried separately from the Big M. Now, they're not just going to show up and say, we found some horrible pictures of Maddie on his phone in the cloud and in his pooter. No. They're going to have a big screen up for the jury to see picture after picture after picture after picture after picture after picture after picture. And they're going to prove where the pictures came from. They're going to show pictures of the rooms in the house. Some of these rooms might actually be at Chris and Debbie's house, my friends. Do they think that the judge is going to stop and look at them and say, hey, by the way, did he have any problems growing up? Did he ever get real excited about Christmas? Did he ever want a pony? No. No.
And so was the cognitive testing or the neuro testing, neuropsychological testing, was that done later to kind of assess?
That was that was because of the school system.
Oh,
They highlighted him as they thought potential ADHD, and we ended up going through a doctor then who evaluated him, gave him all kinds of tests and everything, and found that yes, he is ADHD, and he wasn't before. He was very focused before. I mean, the kid was laser scope focused on things. After that, he couldn't keep a conversation going, or he would skip ahead. He would know what you were going to say. He could project out what you were going to say, and he would start answering what you were going to be talking about in 5 minutes before you ever got to it. And it drove his teachers bananas.
gotcha. And so I presume that whoever did the testing knew about the brain injury.
Yes, they had all the records from the.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Interesting. That would be an interesting report to read for sure.
I wish I could find it. I can't. As we've moved too many times, I don't know. It could be buried somewhere, but I can't put my hands on it. I can't. In fact, we would like to see the doctor's reports too, and I believe that because there was a lawsuit over the accident, that there is a copy of it someplace in Sarasota, in the county. So
yeah, his defense attorney will probably want to see it at some point too. By the way,
they know about it. They said they would find it. We got all the copies of the. He was when he had that kidney surgery in California. He was one of the first people that they used the robot on, and so they used his case in a book.
Oh wow!
Wow.
One of it involved one of his arteries being looped over the top of his ureter, and as he grew and his his trunk expanded, it was pulling that artery tight, like crimping a hose.
Yeah.
And he was at a track meet, and after the track meet, he was in so much pain that we thought he was having appendicitis and rushed him to the hospital.
The pain was similar to having kidney stones. I mean, he would be in such excruciating pain, he would throw up.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. But he was, after the surgery, he was okay. It was successful.
Yeah.
Yes, except that it kept him from the military, which is what he wanted to do to begin with. He wanted to join the Air Force. He joined ROTC in high school, loved it. But when he went to enlist, they saw the scars. They were just little puncture scars, and asking what it was. He said, well, that's where they went in and they just They fix the artery over the ureter. There's no problem with his kidney after that. But because there was a kidney-involved surgery, he was.
What's next? What's next? In my opinion, for one, that bastard would never survive basic training. He couldn't make it through the physical. He's too damn lazy. He couldn't be there on time. No way. That would never happen. In my humble, uneducated opinion, none of this amounts to a hill of beans. And I mean none of it. None of it. No military kid is going to be like, oh, I go to school. I like having stinky breath. Oh, I brush my teeth. No, their ass is up and moving. He couldn't even pass a piss test.
Was deemed disqualified. Passed all of his testing with flying colors, but because of that, they didn't let him in, and that was a real blow to him. It kind of upended everything he thought he wanted to do with his life.
Yeah. So, and he would have been roughly what, like 19, 20 at that point when he applied for the Air Force?
18
18?
straight out of high school.
Gotcha. Okay.
In fact, I took him to the recruitment office. I was.
Did you notice after he was rejected for that? Did you notice any changes in his demeanor?
Very depressed, very angry.
Okay.
Which ended up being so minimal, was going to cause such a huge rift in his life.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. And I presume that he couldn't revisit that after they reject him once, then it's...
No, it stays on their record forever.
Did you, Lauren, have, it sounded like you...
Yeah. Oh, sorry. There was a phone call I was getting and it came up on my earphones and I thought everyone could hear it. So I apologized, but I didn't mean to.
Nope.
Yeah, I couldn't hear it.
Okay. No, I'm waiting for you to make sure that you have all of your questions. I have a few more questions, but not until you feel like you understand.
I wanted to,
yourself.
thank you guys for sending over kind of a summary of your thoughts before this interview. That was helpful to me. There was one thing that I wanted to read here that really stood out for me. You said, I mean, there's a lot of things that stood out, but this is one that I thought was really interesting, given what we know about what happened with Madeleine. I don't have page numbers here, but I'll just read it. You said Stefan has a deep empathy for people and was the person most of his friends turned to when they were in trouble.
Yes.
And you also talked about how he considered becoming maybe a drug counselor and helping people with that, right? And so,
that was after David's death. Yeah.
And so I think what's interesting to me, I'll have you guys talk about that in a second. I just want to reflect on that for a minute. Is that I think there's this tendency to want to pigeonhole people and say, this guy's a monster, or he's a psychopath, or whatever. But when you say that and you talk about that side of him, I think it's important to recognize this is your son, and this is a complex human being with a lot of different emotions. And even though you guys describe him as a liar and a gaslighter and all, he's all these negative things, it's also important to remember that this is someone with a lot of empathy. And someone who for the most part, it sounds like he did want to do good, or he wanted to be close to people, to be close to you guys. And so I just want to point out that people can be contradictory. Things are never as simple as they seem, right? And so I thought maybe I would just throw this over to you guys to talk about to talk about those contradictions in your son and how he wasn't just one thing, he was a multitude of things.
Aren't we all?
Right. But could you maybe talk about, can you tell us a little bit about the empathy and the positives and the things you really loved about Stefan?
Okay. I'm a big animal person. He had such a love for animals. He was so careful with them. I mean, even when he was living with Jen, they found a kitten in the parking lot that was basically dying, and they scooped it up and took it down and brought it back. She still got the cat. When he went to help us move Chris's sister out of a place where she was and into a hospital, because she has some problems.
She's in assisted living. She has dementia.
Yeah, she has advanced dementia, but she had a dog. Well, they found that dog in the apartment in horrible conditions with a harness that was grown into his body, and Stefan couldn't leave the dog behind. He brought the dog home with him, and on the way home, he called. He said, "We've got to get him washed. We've got to get him groomed. He smells. He's got poop all over him," and and so we did. We paid for that, and he brought
More poop. Then he had poop all over him. We know what he was trying to do. He was trying to score. All he's ever done is what he wants to do. And look at the outcome. And he is smart enough. He has an intuition about people. He played his parents like fiddles. Okay, he did. He tractor beamed right after Jen Soto to get what he wants. And that get what he wants was Madeline. He knows how to play people. To the point that even when Jen Soto was presented with horrible pictures of her daughter and her boyfriend, this was the reaction.
Go back inside. Me? I don't care if it's the love of my life sitting next to me. I don't care if it's maternal grandma. If the police come and take my mom's phone and my son's disappearance, I'm not going to offer my mom a lawyer. That's nuts to me. That to me shows you prioritizing stuff, because at that point you became more worried about him being falsely accused than anyone. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Whether or not that's what you felt, does that make sense? People having lawyers is their constitutional right. That is a thing that everybody is afforded. But for somebody who's going through what you were going through, to offer him a lawyer leads me to believe that there may have been a conversation, there may have been knowledge, or there may have been some inclination that you had, whether it be his involvement, her location, or something to where in your mind there's guilt.
I promise you,
Because you offering him a lawyer is very weird.
I know. That was still me under the assumption that, I think at one point you guys interviewed me, and when you guys showed me the picture of her, I believed the sexual stuff, but I didn't want to believe that he had done anything evil to her. I'm like, I believed the sexual stuff, but I didn't want to believe that he had done anything evil to her. I'm like, no, what if he did this stuff fine, but what if she's still missing out there? What if somebody took her? I still wanted to believe I believed him. I believed his whole story. So I was just like, I kept repeating that part. I'm just like, what if she did get dropped off? What if she got abducted? What if she's missing? But that was me assuming that you guys had the wrong guy. I wanted to think he was a good guy still, but clearly he's not. After everything you guys have told me and have shown me, I know he's the worst person on this face of the earth.
We know that now. We know he's a piece of shit now.
You know?
But you didn't know that then.
I didn't.
Then you offered a guy who the police suspected of kidnapping, abducting, assisting the disappearance, offered him a lawyer. And then we don't have to roundtable that. You went back to what you just said is the sex stuff is fine.
That's exactly what she said. The sex stuff, fine. but I believed you had the wrong guy. I believe you had the wrong guy. I didn't know she was getting hard till yesterday. Okay, so the sex stuff, fine. But I think that you have the wrong guy. I think she has a lot more involvement than she wants to alert the popo to. All right? No mom, no human, no alien would care at that point if they had the wrong guy. They would be so mad as to what they were confronted with. They wouldn't be like, but you might have the wrong guy. He needs a lawyer. She's unfriggin' believable.
Do you feel that, so setting aside Jen's responsibility, that's still unknown, right? You know, we can speculate, as you said, we're speculating, we don't know. Do you feel, though, that Stefan manipulated Jen?
I think they manipulated each other.
Yes. Yeah.
They manipulated. She was.
You know,
Okay, there it is, my friends. This is very important coming from Madre and Padre here. Okay? This is really important. Do you think he manipulated Jen? They are still not about to give their son any onus in this horrific crime. Oh, I think they manipulated each other. Meaning nothing can be Stefan's fault. Listen to this again because it makes me damn sick.
morning, he certainly knew how to manipulate her. I mean, going in to collect the dog, making sure she didn't come out of the bedroom. You know, he's got Maddie up hours ahead of school. School didn't start till 9:38. He's got her up at 7.
Right.
And he's going out the door at 7:30. What's he going to do for 2 hours? I mean, when you see this timeline.
Let's look at the timeline. Because Mr. Disney's daddy is on it. Put my glasses back on. She didn't have to be at school till 9:30. School starts late there, I guess. 7:30 a.m. His car is spotted near the dumpster. Okay? Now, I've given my own opinion about this. 6 minutes sounds like quick. Quick as a whistle, right? It's really not. In my opinion, in that 6 minutes, he had to run back in to get that dog leash because he knew she wasn't going to appear alive because you couldn't keep her sitting up. Remember, seatbelts aren't going to hold you in unless someone hits the brakes or you get hit. They're loose. So within 6 minutes, in my opinion, he runs back in to get the dog leash. Gets her tied up because at 7:36 a.m., female body in passenger seat as Stern's car leaves apartment complex. 8:19, he's back at the apartment. Maddie's body is still right there. 9:42, he's seen in a hotel garage and moving her body to the trunk. 4 minutes later, he's driving away. 4:30, Jen Soto goes to pick up Maddie. Maddie never made it to school. 4:30 is when she went to the school. 8 p.m. is when she is reported missing. You don't have to be law enforcement to know that that stinks to high heaven.
Line of stuff, and he goes, "Oh my God!" And but again, taking the steps necessary to preserve you know, his privacy or his actions in going in and collecting the dog, taking the dog out. And, hey, Jen, do you go back to bed? Oh, okay, thanks, appreciate it. You know, definitely wanted to keep her where she was at.
It was underhanded.
Paper Slut said he drove around with her body that long. I think even longer. Because when they were shuffled out of the apartment and went to the hotel, and he got up at 3 a.m, he had a lot of very confusing errands to do that day. I, in my opinion, think he kept going back to where he, as Jen Soto said, dumped Maddie. I think he was going to pick her back up and put her somewhere else. That's the reason he was looking at his dad's storage unit. He was checking out different areas.
Sneaky. I mean,
Yeah.
Lauren, if it's, I pray to God that it was an accident, that he got mad and that it was an accident, because he had really gone that far.
Sure.
Because he did tell us that he put her, you know, she went to bed, and that when he went out to walk around and blow off some steam, he came back and to check on her and she was cold. He said he discovered her. Okay, so.
Okay, this is really, really important information. Mind you, it's total bullshit, but it's really important information. It's an accident. He went outside to blow off some steam and he came back and she was cold. This is his mama's words. They will not accept that their son is a monster. Listen to this again.
In the morning, he certainly knew how to manipulate her. I mean, going in to collect the dog, making sure she didn't come out of the bedroom. You know, he's got Maddie up hours ahead of school. School didn't start till 9:38. He's got her up at 7.
Right.
And he's going out the door at 7:30. What's he going to do for 2 hours? I mean, when you see this timeline of stuff, and he goes, "Oh my God!" And but again, taking the steps necessary to preserve, you know, his privacy or his actions in going in and collecting the dog, taking the dog out. And, hey, Jen, do you go back to bed? Oh, okay, thanks, appreciate it. You know, definitely wanted to keep her where she was at.
It was underhanded.
Yeah.
Sneaky. I mean,
Yeah.
Lauren, if it's, I pray to God that it was an accident, that he got mad and that it was an accident, because he had really gone that far.
Sure.
Because he did tell us that he put her, you know, she went to bed, and that when he went out to walk around and blow off some steam, he came back and to check on her and she was cold. He said he discovered her. Okay, so.
Don't know if that's the truth.
Yeah, don't know if that's the truth. Don't know if anything's the truth, but.
It's what he told you.
Yeah. It's just.
Lips are moving. Don't know if it's the truth.
Right. It's just what he's relaying.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you do a lot right now to protect and process what you know, what happened. I guess, do you have anything else, John, to say when it comes to this, or could I?
Yeah, you and I, we've talked about this that on previous shows, but I can come up with plenty of scenarios where it seems like a very logical explanation to say it's an accident. It at least as much as saying it's premeditated. So yeah, I don't think it's clear cut. I mean, Stefan knows.
Stefan knows.
Yeah,
Stefan knows. We don't.
Whether or not he's telling us, we don't know.
Yeah, whether he'll ever tell us the truth, who knows, right? But I presume if somebody's going to find out, it would be you two.
Yeah.
So, but
I don't think he wants to put himself in a bad light with us. I think he wants to preserve some sort of image of himself as being culpable, but not completely culpable.
Yeah, see, there's just no way for him to communicate with us without everybody knowing. You can't have face-to-face meetings.
Of course, everything's recorded. And they're really hoping that he does open up to them. Because there's way more to this story than that timeline. And that sad-ass morning when he got out of the hotel to go running around Hell's Half Acre trying to figure out where to really stash her. What he doesn't know, detectives were working 24/7 on Maddie's case, and they'd already discovered the pictures.
Everything's either text with the tablet or a phone call, and it's all monitored. So
Yeah.
we'll never know.
But
While, oh, go ahead.
even when they are recording you, they still write things in their reports that are wrong. Can I assure you that I was never taken out of this house and not taken to an emergency room by the police?
Oh,
Where's the bill? Where was the bracelet? I never left my house. I'm a diabetic. I hadn't been eating for over 24 hours.
okay.
Okay.
Right.
I had a dizzy spell. They did bring in an EMT, check my blood pressure. It was a little low. They asked if I wanted to be transported anywhere, and I said no. I'm fine. I just need to eat. That's
Okay.
not in the report. They said they even gave the name of a hospital they supposedly took me to, which I've never heard of before. So I don't know how that happens unless they confuse two different actions that night and put me in one place and with somebody else. I don't know.
Well, the two of you are going through the unfathomable. Like, honest, I don't think I can't comprehend it while you're learning that a little girl that you love is missing and then learning that your son is responsible. You two are also dealing with a lot of, I'll call it this, harassment and threats. While you're just trying to process your lives falling completely apart, or what you thought was your reality completely.
I hope no one is really harassing these two. I really hope that nobody is, I know you guys aren't that way. Nobody's jumping in the inbox, harassing them. Listen, this mom is in total denial. Okay? She is gonna throw as much to the wall till she finds something that sticks with somebody. Don't think for a minute that Lauren and Dr. John are buying this bullshit. Please don't. They're smarter people. They just know how to talk to people. Paper Slut said denial is in a river in Egypt. That was part of my project, actually.
Being turned upside down. Can you talk a little bit about that too? Because I just feel like in this true crime community, the way we cover crime is important, and we so often dehumanize the people we're discussing. And I just was wondering if you could share a little bit about what you two have been dealing with.
Well, like I said, there's not a day that doesn't go by that we don't think about Maddie, and certainly we wonder about Stefan, and we wonder if we'll ever know the reason how and why this.
I believe him. I believe a day doesn't go by, a minute of their day doesn't go by that they aren't thinking about this crime. Now, I don't know why he says if we'll ever know the reason, the hows and whys. There's going to be an extensive trial. They're going to get the hows and whys, but they're not going to put everything on Jen Soto. I do think she will get charges someday. She's too precious of a commodity on her own right now, though. There's really nothing she can do. She doesn't have a child in her care to abuse right now. So she's okay. I guarantee they've got her tapped. I guarantee they have her tapped. But this is more denial. And I don't mean denial in Egypt. This is more denial. We wonder if we'll ever know the reason why. They're going to sort it all out for you. They're going to sort it. They're going to put it right in your face. This is what happened. And this is why we think it happened.
This came about. When did this start? How he got to this point? Why he didn't feel the need to come to us and tell us that he had a problem?
That's not the question.
What's the question?
The question is how we're dealing with the harassment, and I'm the one that's getting the harassment.
Okay.
I'm getting.
Okay, back to them. Back to them. Have you noticed this circle jerk we get in this case all the time? No, she's not asking about that. That would be Madeline Soto. That would be Madeline Soto. Not asking about that. Asking about the harassment. Asking about the harassment. Listen, there's no police investigation into people that have judgment on everyone that failed Madeline. She's asking about the harassment. The harassment.
The ugly text messages. I'm getting the ugly phone calls. The horrible, horrible descriptions of what they want done to my son. The horrible descriptions of what they want me to do to myself. They suggested several ways I can kill myself. One woman was it was funny actually. She sent me a text and says, "Deborah, there's a man in the woods." I'm sure that was supposed to scare me, like there's somebody out there, taking going to take pot shot at me. Well, good luck. But because I'm from the South, I guess I have a wacky sense of humor, but I wanted to send her a text back that says, "Sweetheart, this is the South. There's always men in the woods. We don't know what they're doing. They're pissing, they're spitting, they're shooting. I don't know what they're doing, but they're in the woods. So if you thought you were scaring me, no."
But yeah, people trying to scare you. Wow.
Yes, we have people saying that they're going to come down here. We have people saying that what they would like to see happen to me. And then have graphic descriptions of what they want to see happen to Stefan. Male and females do this. It's not that. And they can get to us no matter where, because every time we do something, like change our phone number, then they dox us again on YouTube and give us the new phone numbers. So, how do you...
Well, hell, she needs to get a hold of Lisa K. Ruitz. Oh, then they dox me again. Then they dox me again. Nothing is funny about this, lady. Your son has committed a capital crime in your state. Just a few hours away from your home. What are you going to do when they have all those pictures up and you recognize your own home decor? Yeah, call Lisa K. Ruitz.
How many times do you have to change your phone number and your business cards?
Gosh.
What do we have to do? Do we have to live in self-confinement all the time? Afraid to even go to the grocery store because somebody might walk up to me in a parking lot and accost me? Is somebody following us as we go around and we don't know? Cars parked around. We don't know if somebody's hiding in them watching us. Chris walked up the other day and there was a person out front with a cell phone taking pictures of our house. So, said he was, what did he say he was?
He was taking some B-roll for somebody.
Where B-roll is, taking B-roll for a television show, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, we're not the story. We're not the face of this. Like I said, we're just as shocked by all of this. And we know as much as the public knows. No more and no less, whatever's out there. And if we've missed something in some of these reports, well, again, as I said, we've seen enough evidence to convince ourselves that Stefan did this. And was
Okay. He said, we know as much as the public knows. No more, no less. Here's the question. Against my better judgment, I'm putting this up. Look at all this money from the commissary from March. This is only one page of it, by the way. Someone named Danielle sent him $50. Someone named Kareem Shambar sit 10. Then it's Chris Stearns, 100. This Shambar person, 10. Christopher, 100. Christopher, 100. Christopher, 50. Christopher, 60. Christopher, 30. Christopher, 50. This is all coming from their family. So when he says, we know as much, no more, no less. Okay. What I know, I can tell you right now, I wouldn't part with 1 penny for him. 30, 50, 50, 50, 100. Some people say, well, you know what? They're paying for protection. Because if he's got some bartering going on there, then they won't kill him. Son or not, it wouldn't hurt my feelings if he got the old Adam Montgomery head in the poopy toilet.
Involved. We're not denying that.
I'll admit that I didn't believe it at first. I didn't. I said, yeah, I do. And I'm not making excuses for him. But as for me, the more people screw with us and the more lies they say, the more angry I get at them. Because why? What gives them the right? They have no skin in the game. They don't know any of us. They don't know anything about us, but they can sit there and just hold court on these shows, either by writing or by calling in and describe what they think we are and how we should be treated. Why? Why? What does that do for them? And what does it do for us?
Right.
Okay, I have an issue when anyone says, it's not your business, you have no skin in the game. Since when is our society not our business? No, I don't live in that county. I don't live in that state. But since when is trying to find a way to phrase this so YouTube doesn't give me the Adam Montgomery. Since when is society and the way our children are treated not our business? Since when are we not supposed to have an opinion and be horrified, mortified when something so horrific happens to a child? We hear everything. Why didn't the schools do something? Why didn't CPS step in? It always starts with the family. So of course we're going to have something to say. So for them to be so hoity-toity, all highfalutin saying they have no skin in the game. Maddie's dead. Maddie was murdered after years of horrific SA. And we're supposed to say, not my business. Man, they're not going to put me on the jury. Hell no. I live in Oklahoma. And they're talking about their upset, their harassment, people judging them. Maybe they're part of the problem. Maybe they are part of the problem.
You got people who are brokenhearted and your life is falling apart and everybody's picking at you. Why? Why are people so mean? Why are they so vindictive? And why are they so ugly about it? I don't understand that. We don't do that to people.
I am so mad right now. I'm spitting fire. I'm spitting nails over here. Why are they so mean? Why are they so judgmental? We're not like that. We know you're not like that because you didn't do a damn thing about the things that you saw go on. We know you're not like that. We know you don't give a shit. What are you talking about? Ask your son. Roberta Jr.? Ask your son.
been watching us. Chris walked out the other day and there was a person out front with a cell phone taking pictures of our house. So, said he was, what did he say he was?
He was taking some B-roll for somebody.
Where B-roll is, taking B-roll for a television show, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, we're not the story. We're not the face of this. Like I said, we're just as shocked by all of this. And we know as much as the public knows, no more and no less, whatever's out there. And if we've missed something in some of these reports, well, again, as I said, we've seen enough evidence to convince ourselves that Stefan did this and was involved. We're not denying that.
I'll admit that I didn't believe it at first. I didn't. I said, I do. And I'm not making excuses for him. But as for me,
Hold on. She said, I'm not making excuses for him. And no, I don't think they taught him how to be a ped. I don't think they encouraged any sort of abuse against Madeline. I don't think they have anything to do with the big M. But when she says, I'm not making excuses for him, that's all they've done for the last hour and 57 minutes. I think, hey, Pat K is going to grab the link. And let me tell you what, when she wants the link, it means she is pissed. All they've done is make excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse for him. It is sickening. Look, I get it's their son. I get it's the fruit of Chris's loins. Okay. Are you guys prepared? All right. Hashtag WWPD. Hello, my friend Pat.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Oh, I can hear you perfectly, girlfriend.
I am so flippin' mad. I had to come in the house. I was in my backyard. I have new neighbors.
Okay.
I have to shut the door. Oh my God. I understand the parents. Like, I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. But when your son gets hit by a car and then and his total demeanor changes, then you go get him help. You go to a counselor once a week. And then they said, all this trouble. And the principal said, well, why don't you homeschool him? Yeah, all my brothers and sisters are teachers. You know what that means? They wanted him out of the school.
Well, and that could be it. That could totally be it if that conversation really happened. But
Yeah.
Principals don't really like to get rid of state funds, and every child brings money into the school.
Well,
so he would have
yeah.
been really bad for him to say, have you ever homeschooled him before?
Yeah. But then get him counseling. You're not a counselor, lady. Obviously something was going on with your son. Take him somewhere and get him help. He wasn't acting like most children. I don't like to say the word normal. He wasn't acting like most children. So get him help. And they just kept enabling, and it just makes me sick. And they're blind. I call it willful blindness in Canada here.
Mhm.
It's a law. They can charge you for willful blind. But anyway, I'm just flabbergasted. I don't even know what to say. They just make me so flippin' mad. And sending them money? Are you crazy?
Yeah, look at it. Look at all this.
It's disgusting. Let him eat the shit in jail. He's there for a reason. You heard that there was a picture of poor Maddie with him. I can't even say it. That picture existed. Why would you want to send him money? Let him eat the shit that they feed them. I don't care. You are like that. You know what? Oh, I'm so mad. They could have gone to jail and had a visit with him and said, Stefan, tell us the truth. Let's get it out, blah, blah, blah. Why are they not doing that? Who cares if it's recorded? It's the truth. Get it out. Maddie deserves the truth to be told. Why would they say, well, it's recorded, so, we don't want him to say much, or however they phrased it? Who cares? He did what he did. Oh, I'm so mad. I'm sorry. Oh.
Paper Slut has a really good comment. They pay their son more in jail than some people make in a month.
Yeah. Like, what do you, what? So we can have a fucking steak dinner? Excuse my language. We heard all of what Diddy's offered in jail, and he can buy all that shit. So what, they're going to do it to their son? It's disgusting. It's disgusting.
It is disgusting. And I'm so sick of the victim blaming and the she said she woke up and her leg was over his. And I said, oh, that's not funny. That's not funny. Well, then I would have been like, what is she doing sleeping in the bed with you two?
Like, come on, 12 years old. You start walking them back at 5 years old. You start walking them back. And if they keep ending up in your bed, then you lock the door. My sister locked the door once because her daughter wouldn't stop coming in. And she said, wouldn't you know it? I woke up in the morning, opened the bedroom door, and there Lisa is sleeping in the hallway. And we laughed about it. And we went, well, she'll learn. You have to stop it. That's what a parent does. You have to teach them the proper way to go through life, to be accepted in society. And no, it's not accepted for an 11, 12-year-old to sleep with not even the biological father. It makes it even worse that it's a boyfriend. It's just, this whole story just gets me.
I think a lot of people have really been struggling with this story because it just gets worse and worse and worse. And when I hear Mama Disney saying, I'm not making excuses for him. That's all she did the whole time. I know some people call it coddling. Listen, your kid doesn't want to go to school. Your kid doesn't want to do math. Your kid you don't buy him a pony.
Yeah, a horse.
For bad behavior.
Exactly. You say, you know what? Straighten your socks up for a year, and then maybe we'll talk about it. You don't buy it for him and expect he's going to all of a sudden change the next day. He had a problem. He had a big problem. I don't know if it's people are born this way or it's learned behavior. Like, who knows? I don't even think science has come up with that answer. Have they? Or am I missing it? Like, what causes these people to do that? To do things like that?
I mean, I have a very simple answer, an answer that a lot of people some people don't agree with. I think it's just straight up demonology. I think they have a sexual perversion and they can't have regular relations with people, let's say their age, and something about children turn them on.
Yeah. But do you think they're born with it? Like, are people born this way or like premeditated to turn out like that? Or is it because the parents didn't teach him about boundaries? I don't know.
I think with him, it's all of the above. I really do. I think no boundaries. I think he was the kid in his room that probably whacked it 6 times a day. And then that wasn't doing it for him. And so he started getting into these different perversions. But he also is a master manipulator.
Yeah, I can see that.
He had his parents figured out. He played them like a fiddle. Okay?
Yeah. And when she said he had lots of friends, well, he was manipulating his friends to like him. We've seen people like that. They're two different people. And, oh, no, I'm just flipping from subject to subject here. Swirl here. When she said, oh, I forget now. Go ahead. My brain's just rattling. This just gets me so pissed. She said something about him in jail that bugged me. Anyway, go ahead, Brooks.
Oh no, I'm totally agreeing with you. There's a lot of things that I just don't prefer to read about this. Now, you do understand that some states, some countries are calling this a mental illness. They're saying just like how I'm attracted to DT Driver, some people are only attracted to little kids, and we need to give them some credence. My answer to that is no.
I agree, no, because through the last 50 years, we have learned that mental illness is a classification for people that have, you know, problems with certain things, have issues.
Mhm.
So you can't say mental illness for somebody that goes and kills a kid. Sorry. Give it a new term then. Start using a new term, because nobody with a classic mental illness problem wants to be locked in with this guy. So no, I'm not good. I wouldn't use the mental illness. I think definitely something's wrong with them, but you can't use that mental illness term. Think of something else. You know, I don't know what. But
I can think of several terms. For one, if Mr. Disney was my son, there wouldn't have been a new pony. I would have had him out in the corral letting the pony stomp the shit out of him.
oh, you're my Okie girl.
I know a lot of people don't agree with, you know, corporal punishment, but I tell you what, I'd have given him a whipping.
Yeah, see, I don't agree with it. But hey, that's only because, you know, I wasn't brought up with it. And, you know, I feel I turned out okay. I never hit I hit my son once when he was 4 and he was eating a bar of soap and he started choking on it. And it was one of those freak out ones.
Mhm.
But, you know, and we turned out okay, you know, to each his own. But I'm also the type of person, if somebody was hitting their kid in public, I'd go up and intervene.
Well,
You
and you
know.
also have to remember that I was good at threatening. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
I
you had 3 boys. I had 1 and that was it. So you know what? Whatever you had to do and felt was right, and they looked like they turned out great. So hey, you know, I'm not judging other people because I'm not in their shoes.
Well, and let me tell you, it's not a new problem. If you remember back in the early 80s, I know some people are going to come after me for this and they're going to say, what the hell? Why are you playing different strokes? Because I'm telling you, it's not a new problem. This is not a 2024 problem. Do you guys have time for this? This is when Arnold and Dudley were getting molested or almost molested by the bicycle man.
Where did you get the wine?
Well, I'm not supposed to tell.
Arnold?
Mr. Horton.
Mr. Horton?
The man in the bicycle shop.
What's he got to do with this? Well, while I was there with Dudley, he gave us some pizza and wine.
What else went on there?
He showed us some pictures. Everybody was naked.
Naked?
And he showed us some kinky cartoons.
What do you mean by kinky?
Grooming, 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 grooming. That's exactly what happened with Maddie. That's exactly what happened with Jen Soto, which I'm giving her no accolades for doing nothing. This man knew how to manipulate. He got what he wanted from his friends. He got what he wanted. He could smell the desperation from a mile away on Jen Soto. She stunk of it. He knew what he wanted. He wanted Maddie. And that's what he got.
Well, you told me about the birds and the bees, but that's nothing compared to what those mice were doing.
I think I'd better have a talk with our Mr. Horton.
Dad, you don't think...
Yes, I sure do.
Is there something wrong, Dad? Maybe we should go get Dudley. He's still down there. At the bicycle shop?
Oh, my God.
Dad, I'm going with you.
Now, wait a second. Maybe we should call the police first.
The police?
And I'm going to leave a message with Dudley's father.
Oh, Look, I'm sorry, Mr. Drummond. I'm just about to close up here. I've had a little problem.
Is this Horton?
Yes, it is.
I think you've got a big problem, Mr. Horton.
Now, where's Dudley? Arnold told us that he was here. Look, I don't understand. Was this some kind of joke, Mr. Drummond?
Stay with him.
Hey, wait a minute, man. You can't go back there.
Dudley? Dudley, where are you?
Yeah, they can. You don't need a warrant if you're checking on a child. Remember the Turpin family? They got right in there. They said, no, we don't need a warrant if we're checking on a child.
Maybe he's in here. Mr. Drum, it might be better if I looked in there first. Dudley, are you okay?
Oh, Mr. Drummond, am I glad to see you. Boy, I sure feel goofy.
Did Mr. Horton give you anything, Dudley?
A pill. He said it'd make me feel good.
Again, this is not a new problem. You can't not tell me that Maddie was not drugged.
Yeah, I think she was drugged, definitely. Definitely.
They brought up the THC pills. They brought up other things. We know that Jen Soto talks all the time about her Seroquel, her Klonopin. And by the way, don't leave me any comment on the replay saying, what are you doing talking about people that had Klonopin? I've been taking it for 5 years. I'm not talking about you because you're not giving it to kids to take nasty pictures of them. I'm not talking about you. We're not talking about anybody who gets a prescription from their doctor that they need. Things were given to her.
Yeah.
So they could get their way, in my opinion.
Dudley? Are you all right?
Yeah, I guess so. But I'm kind of scared.
Dudley, I want you to tell me exactly what happened before we came in.
Do I have to?
Go ahead. It's all right.
Now, Dudley, you can tell everything to Detective Simpson because he's here to help us.
Well, at first, Dad, I was having a lot of fun. Then Mr. Horton, he tried to touch me.
It's not your fault, son. And I don't blame you. And I'm not going to punish you. I love you. Do you understand?
Well, I thank goodness you got to Dudley before anything really terrible happened to him. How's he doing?
Well, he's still a little shaken up.
Well, he's a lucky boy. He'll come out of this just fine. He's got parents who are loving and understanding. You know, some parents actually blame the children for what happened.
That is dreadful.
This is from 1981. They're saying they blame the children. What have we heard from Jen Soto? What did we hear from Mr. Disney's mama? Victim blaming, victim blaming, victim blaming, victim blaming. Jen Soto looked at her own daughter as competition. She's trying to take my man.
Yeah. Yeah. You could see that and did you hear her catch herself when she said her worst fear was that the daughter would fall, and she stops herself from saying falling in love, I think, and changed it to groom. But that's exactly what she was just, I don't know. She's got no compassion. She's got no empathy. She should be crying her head off saying, where's Maddie? Where's Maddie? And she's not. So her instincts are for, I don't know, Stefan, but I don't know.
Susan says it all the time, not just in this case, but other ones. She's like, it's dehumanizing.
Yeah.
You see, somebody takes a part of you. It's not your fault. You leave your door unlocked and somebody steals your TV. Hey, look, you were a dumbass for not locking your door, but it's not your fault that somebody came and stole your TV. And I've got a lot to say about the Soto family. That'll be on the next show we do about Maddie. The devil has not come up with new sins, by the way, at all. This has been going on for a very, very long time. We talked yesterday about Morgan Nick. She has been missing for almost 30 years. through new DNA. Pat had to remind me that we actually met the people. I didn't even realize it was the same lab. That's what an idiot I am. This is before the internet and all that stuff.
Yeah.
The internet actually makes it easier for law enforcement because they have a digital trail.
Yeah, but it makes it easier for the sickos too to see things online.
You're damn right.
Yeah.
You're damn right.
It's not your fault, son. And I don't blame you. And I'm not going to punish you. I love you. Do you understand?
Well, I thank goodness you got to Dudley before anything really terrible happened to him. How's he doing?
Well, he's still a little shaken up.
Well, he's a lucky boy. He'll come out of this just fine. He's got parents who are loving and understanding. You know, some parents actually blame the children for what happened.
That is dreadful. That is the worst thing you could do.
What's going to happen to Mr. Horton?
Well, I think we got a darn good case against him, Willis. Thanks to your father calling us, we were able to surprise him, and we found some very incriminating pictures.
Worse than the mice?
Much worse.
What is this world coming to?
See, Detective Simpson said it was a good thing we called him. Because if I'd gone down and confronted Horton by myself, he would have been able to get rid of all the photographs before the police could even get there.
Unfortunately, most parents do just that, and the guy gets off scot-free. Oh, and by the way, Arnold, your evidence is going to help us a lot, too. I think I got all the details right here, including there was a cherry on the banana split he gave you.
Did I mention the chopped nuts?
Yeah, that, too.
What?
Of course, it sounds, funny, and they put in the, clip laughs and things like that. But that's how they get after children. They give them what they want.
Yeah.
So, when the detective is like, oh, this is really important, the cherry, the chopped nuts, all that stuff, it's how they bring a child into their web.
Poor Maddie.
Poor Maddie is right. I mean, you talk about disgusting, and it is. And I just can't imagine the fear. And at what point in her life did it become normal?
Yeah.
Because
And she wanted to live in the woods. You know what? That's heartbreaking.
It makes you wonder, like, what point did it become her normal life?
Yeah.
Well, you guys, this has been a great show. I need a huge round of applause for hashtag WWPD. This is my amazing, amazing, amazing friend, Pat Kay.
Thank you
And
for
Angie-
having me up. I needed to let off a bit of steam. I was just, it makes me so mad. I couldn't type fast enough in chat. Anyway, thanks everybody. And thank you, Brooks, for having this. It helps sometimes.
It helps sometimes. Sometimes it might make it worse. But Angie, baby, you're so right. Believe your children.
Yep.
Like when people say, oh, it's a kid thing. Oh, it's a kid thing. Oh, well, they lied about this. Even if they're making it up, there's an underlying problem that has to be addressed. Okay? There's something else going on. Well, there's nothing else going on around here today unless you guys want to pop in a little bit and discuss what happened in court yesterday with Sarah Boone. I'll let you be the judge of that. If you don't vote, then I guess I will see you back here tomorrow because we have 2 shows tomorrow. We're going to talk about Quentin Simon because Leilani, LaLazy, her trial starts next week. And it's going to be a booger. It's going to be bad. Okay? Not going to lie to you. It's going to be bad. Remember how I kept losing my damn mind throughout the Gannon case? The Gannon trial? Oh boy. Yeah, it's going to be that bad. So we're going to talk about Quentin Simon tomorrow. And then there's another case I want to discuss a few hours after. And that is about Jessica Barnes, because I want to know how her husband and her two friends are accused of the Big M, and she was found dead in South Carolina. All right, I'll either see you back here in a couple hours or I'll see you back here tomorrow morning. You guys are the absolute best. Big hats off to my girl, Pat K, and to all of you, Mod Squad, you rock. Love ya.